Welcome to All Things Data Science, the one-stop channel to help anyone interested in learning or transitioning to data science just like I did. Today's another example from the LeetCode series. More specifically, this is a string problem in the easy category, and it's called reverse words in a string theory. So let's get to it. Let's have a peek at the problem statement in the first place. What's going on here? We have some kind of sentence here. It makes some sense, but it could be anything really. It could even be, and that's important as a edge case, one massive word, like from A to Z, for example. So, and what we do want to do is for each singular sentence, or rather word, we reverse it. As I'm reading, I like putting in a few notes. So definitely the upper cases are fine. You don't need to do anything there. I do want to remind that this is what I like to call the meh approach, i.e. we'll have a better one in a bit. Let's see, anything else we should be keeping in mind? Yeah, I did think it was interesting that they actually kind of tell us that, you know, we can expect just a space. There's not going to be any crazy, you know, tabs and additional things that, you know, new lines or multiple spaces. So I think it's fair for us to go with just that. That's important to know. It will change the problematic otherwise. So the way I went about it, I actually initially was thinking about pointers and things like that, and then I was thinking about splitting, which funny enough actually does end up being also a good solution, but it all depends on sort of how you're putting things together. So just heads up from the beginning, I mean, this kind of stuff is a little bit slower than other kind of more of array type manipulations that are embedded within Python. So while this is a good solution, you know, there's just ways of speeding it up better with what you use within Python. But what is going on here? So basically, so I was thinking about this. So the split approach, fine, and we'll get to that later. But maybe another idea is really, let me just play around while I'm going through my little array and see what I could do there. And so basically, to me, the quintessential idea is this, the fact that we're gonna be sort of building up a string first, which is, you know, grabbing this and then reversing it. So how do we do that? We're just going to grab your empty sort of string that you start with, which I do also reset later on. But basically, when I'm in the good, i.e., I haven't hit a string yet, whereas here I do. Then when I'm still here, then I'm just gonna say, you know, I encounter a big L like I'm showing here, so that's gonna be that. And then I encounter that E, so it's gonna get added to the left, and this is what we're seeing here. And you sort of continuously do that until you end up with that that's flipped. And then we get to, you know, not flipped anymore. You know, there is a space. So now that there is that, we are ready to add it to what I'm kind of returning at the very end, basically, the sentence that we care about, which right now has an empty string in it. And there, of course, we're just going to add our word, because if you, and by the way, if you flip the order of these, then that's a no-no, because you do also want to make sure that the ordering, let's call it, you know, number 1, number 2, number 3, you do want to keep that as well. Number 1 is here. It just individually, it's flipped in and of itself. So we do want to make sure of that. And that's pretty much it for this one, really. Yeah, just a heads up, because we're looking for a space. Once you hit, this part specifically, you're not going to see a space. So you just want to make sure to add the thing you've been working on, i.e. that extra last context that's being flipped as well into what you're returning. So that's that. And it's all good and it runs, etc. But you're definitely going to get sort of a smaller performance. So it's pretty cool, and I like giving people credit. So this one came within the discussion, and I thought it was nice. There's definitely plenty of sort of similar ideas here, but basically let's have a look at it more specifically. And this one, when you do run it, it's faster. And it's funny because this keeps on fluctuating. I feel like earlier it was faster than 70%, but and I'm talking like 2 seconds ago from running this. But more importantly, it's a little better. So let's have a look at what's going on here specifically. And basically we have our whole string, right? That's our input. We're happy with it, totally fine. So and actually what I'll do is have the examples next to us. That way we can refer to that lovely example again. So yeah, basically this part is going to start giving you things that are split, right? And the take, and you continue on. So that does that. And then basically, and I love these, this one is saying, all right, these are basically, like word 1, word 2, etc., etc. So you're looping through this, right? And then in and of itself, almost like a mini third layer, it's doing a nice trick of basically using array properties in order to then, for each of those, kind of flip them around. So do the do the reverse that we want to get to, and really that's it. So now basically you've got your whole thing going on here, right? You've got this, which happens to look at each individually, and then you now end up basically with an array where things are flipped. I'm just going to draw them this way. And so the only last thing you have to do is really stitch them literally. So let's do one last color. This is going to do the stitching together with adding basically like a space in between each, and obviously removing the array kind of data structures since you're using a join. So that's about it, really. It's pretty neat and nice in terms of cleanliness, and really all of them are O of N both for space and complexity, because ultimately, even for the earlier ones, basically the worst that could happen is, like I mentioned really early on, I mean, you could ultimately still have something that's one gigantic word being the sentence, like A, B, C, all the way to Z. And then that means your subpart is still all the way up to N as a possibility. And of course, we're running through the S ones for sure. So that's our other O of N. Hopefully that was helpful. And obviously, this latter one is our, what I like to call, better approach. So please feel free, as usual, to bring any questions or comments in the comment section, and I'd love it if you could subscribe. Have a good day.